Another week, another Cardiff City phone in. As we were talking about just before we went live, the mood in the camp on Friday was a little bit, But then we managed to turn it around and get back on track, because it was a really big game of the weekend. Great result, but we looked so much better, and I think we can, Dave Jones, we can more or less relax a bit now. Would you go that far?
It's Cardiff City. You can never relax, Steve, but I am very, very confident now we can get over the line by the weekend.
What did you make of the performance in general?
A lot better.
Yeah.
On the front foot from the off, created lots of chances, and same old story for the last couple of weeks. We couldn't put the ball in the net, but as soon as we scored, it was never in doubt we were going to win. That Bolton looked a team that were in a relegation fight, not a promotion playoff position.
So at half time, Dave, I'm sure John will have something to say about this, but at half time, I was thinking, can we have a striker, please? Can we get a striker on? And then all of a sudden, of course, Kellyman, became deadly in the air, and away we went. Once we had the first goal, we were off. But call me old-fashioned, but I do quite like having a striker in the team.
Yeah, me too. I think, Callum Robinson's absence for half a game. I thought, you're going to give Robinson half a game and then Salah second half. But I don't know. I don't know if Robinson's pulling his weight in training. He certainly hasn't favoured him since Salah's
injury. Not at all. No.
And I find it quite strange because every time he comes on, he scores. Well, he's got a good goal ratio.
Yeah.
And and he grafts, but this obviously happened.
What about you, John? We having similar thoughts at half time? It was like lots of possession. We were putting shots in, but we just weren't quite firing, getting the goals. We just needed that first goal, didn't we?
Oh, absolutely. I had bad visions. Steve, Dave, I thought, here we go. We're not going to score. Dominating the game. They haven't done nothing all game, and they'll score right to the death. That's what was going through my mind, to be honest.
Yeah. What would you, just out of interest, probably an unfair question, but what would you have done at half time, John? I wonder, honestly, if you would have changed anything.
I would have brought Callum Robinson on, but he can't seem to get. I think something's gone on behind the scenes, eh? He's not putting him on at all, isn't he? Robinson, there is a goal in him, but my snap with Robinson, his work rate off the ball is it's not acceptable,
But how many games? Because Youssef Salah's been out for 8? He was out for 8 weeks or something, wasn't he? Quite a long time.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He just you would have thought if you were Callum Robinson, if you were that striker, because he just scored goals. He's got a good pedigree. I wonder what goes through his mind. He can't even get a game then. I remember we scored goals for a while, and then we kind of dried up. And even then, he wasn't getting in.
Yeah.
And it's just if you can't put the ball in the back of the net, you don't pick up the point. So I suppose the writing's on the wall for him at coming into the season, is it, John?
Oh yeah, I think he'll be gone, and Chambers.
Yeah.
I think Robinson will be gone. Chambers will be gone. The high earners, they'll be gone.
Yeah. And Dave, what's your thoughts on Callum Robinson? Would you have liked to see him have a go? What's the point of him even being on the bench? He was not going to get on, by the way.
Well, he has been an impact player when he has come on, and he's been quite useful this season. But like I said, he's like I heard they're on 30 bags a week. It's a lot of money at this level. And Callum James, like Jonathan said, I think he'll be gone. That lad, that Peterborough guy, just took him apart the other day on Easter Monday. He just left him for dead. So they've been decent players for us, but like I said, now with all the Emilia Salah saga now hopefully over, he's going to have a look at the team. He's going to have a look at the wage structure. A lot of the kids are probably on about 8-10 grand a week down there, and then the ones who are on 25-30 are going to be staring down the barrel of a gun, I think, to be honest.
don't really want to open it up too much, Dave, but I just don't know whether briefly you got any thoughts on, the repercussions of that, decision, because there's been no sign of like an appeal or anything as yet.
I think he should go to bed now for the sake of the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. I think it's just rolled on and rolled on, and it hasn't done the club tan, not any good, the family any good. It's just, it's a tragic story, which I have my own, I have my own opinion on it. I think the club should have been more decisive on how we got back. There's, in the light that there's a flight out to Paris every single day at 6 p.m. and he should have been on that card, Paris to card.
Yeah. So as I said, I don't want to sort of go into it in too much detail, because above anything else, like you say, it's a human tragedy. It's a family, blown apart. I just wonder, looking to the future, how that will shape up. Because when we get into the championship, one of the things we were talking about, Dave and John, was the amount of clubs in the championship who are in like really significant financial, straits. And like going back into the championship, I think you're probably both bang on. By the way, I think the high earners will have to go, because we're going to need more numbers in the room. But it's the differential on bringing in players on a lower salary, get more players in. But it's a massive jump for us now, Dave. I know we were in the championship for all those years. Going back into it, do you see it as a big leap?
Oh, massively. We got exposed badly at the back this season. Quite a lot. We've leaked a lot of goals. I think we're going to need 3 or 4 defenders. We need a creative midfielder and someone else up top. We need 6 or 7 new players to compete. But we don't have to go spending a lot of money. We can recruit from the league we're in now with some good players this season. Maybe want to take a punt on us next year. We've got some great youngsters coming through again. If we can keep hold of the nucleus of what we've got now, I think we'll do okay, because we play some attractive football now.
Yeah.
And the games against Wrexham and Burnley in particular this season, we've played well against teams that have come out who want to play against us. So that could stand in good stead if we keep the team that we have at present, the youngsters, with promise.
So John, was that the difference on the weekend, do you think? I know it was League One match, but with Bolton, because Bolton had to win, so do Huddersfield tomorrow, so does Reading on the weekend, by the way. So these teams, when they have to open up a bit, have a bit more of a go at us, at this level, certainly it plays into our hands, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's like, I know I'm going back a bit, but it's like when we play Chelsea, when we play against other teams who
played
play
really well on
football,
that,
attractive football, then we seem to step it up then, and we compete with them, But when we play teams like Lincoln, who played like Neil Warnock, very similar style of football, soak up the pressure, then hit you on a counter, and then go back to 2 blocks of 4, we find it very, very difficult to break down.
Yeah.
But when we play against teams who play good, open, attractive football, we excel at it. We're very, very good at it.
And the point Dave made is a good one, though, isn't it, John? I mean, those when we did play those teams from a higher level, particularly Wrexham in that first half,
Yeah, brilliant, superb. Yeah. It's what Dave pointed out as well. They were my 2 favourite games. They were the Wrexham and the Burnley. I thought we were absolutely outstanding. We look like a championship team,
Yeah, the team out that night, Burnley, didn't they, John? They wasn't all their academy players by any means.
No.
It's just a shame you haven't been able to keep Isaac Davis fit, because he played brilliant that night, didn't he? He was one of the performers.
He's exceptional. Yeah.
Do you see him as a striker, Dave, going forward? Striking option?
Don't know. I think he's good. He's a winger to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Cut in on both feet. Good on both feet. Causes defenders. no substitute for pace, as they say.
He's nippy, isn't he? He's nippy.
So quick.
Mm.
But keeping him fit, and it's just that's the problem, unfortunately, with him and a few of the others who are a little bit injury prone.
Yeah. Obviously, including Dylan Lawler.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, great to have him back on the weekend. By the way,
And
John. Sorry, John. I was just say to you. One of the things, of course, on the weekend was lovely to keep a clean sheet. And I'm talking of Dylan. This comment's coming from Martin Ryan, because I think they're a lovely partnership. Those two. Are they the foundation for the return to the Premier League? Early days, take the championship first, but they look good together, don't they?
Fish and Lawler, very, very, very good. Yeah, very good.
Oh,
yeah.
oh.
Dylan Lawler reminds you of when he's on the ball. You know who he reminds you of? Alan Hansen for Liverpool.
Oh yeah.
So cool and calm and collected, isn't he? Just brings them out. No one fake. If he's a man on, he just he's just so composed on the ball.
Great, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope for another year. I hope he gives us another year.
Well, that's the thing, Dave, because again, I said I nodded towards it earlier. I don't want to go into any great depth, but there has been, the decision which was taken fairly recently, if that is a final decision, massively changes the financial picture at the club. I think we'd all say the same thing. Someone comes in with 15 million for Dylan. Do you think he'd be down the road, wouldn't he?
Well, it depends who it is. I think if he go to Man City or Arsenal or Liverpool, he's going to be probably loaned back out for a year. So if he go there, good luck to him. Loan him back to us for a year. If you go to someone like West Ham or Palace, I think he should stay with us for another year, to be honest, because you never know what could happen. Ipswich had the ascendancy and they had that run and they went up again, didn't they? So you never know. I'm not saying for 1 minute we're going to go straight up to the Premier League, because I'm not, because I think we do need several new players, as a little bit more experience in there. But I think Lawler with BBM, I think BBM has been a revelation for the club. And talked a lot of players from leaving at the beginning of this season, and maybe they might share his vision and say, "Well, right, let's we'll grow in as a team together. Let's give it 1 more year." He's young enough to stay for another year, and then pick and choose whatever club you want to go to. I think he's going to go all the way to the top. There's another Aaron Ramsey, Dylan Lawler.
Yeah. So the Aaron Ramsey one, John, brings back memories, because there's a couple of things with him out there. I mean, he was so outstandingly good. So was Dylan, I think. But and then he went too early. He didn't go for enough. We had the FA Cup final. He didn't play in it. It's nice just to get the full value out of the players while they're with the club, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Like, you went to Arsenal, what was it, just under 5 million, wasn't it, Rambo? I thought, geez, flipping on. They might as well just give him away for nothing. Geez, unbelievable. And he should have played the cup final.
I can't believe that. Our best player, he left him on the bench, Dave Jones.
Unbelievable. And when he came on the second half,
Portsmouth apart when he came on.
They didn't know what to do with him.
No.
They didn't know what to do with him.
He's watching Cardiff City. Why he didn't play Ramsey in the cup final? We could have won that.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's a Dave Jones and his dazzling personality approach to young players. Good manager as he was, he wasn't Mr. Entertainment, was he? To be fair.
No.
There's something I want to go to with both of you. We were going to have another person on the panel tonight, to come in, but we've got two good people, so which is fine. This has come up a couple of times, so I'll go to you first, John, on this. I'm banging on about this. Perry NG, Joel Bagan, Wintle, all out of contract this summer. We take them one by one. Rumored to be in talks now of new deals. So I know what I was going to say with it. Joel Bagan's played more minutes than anyone else this season. He's never looked out of place, in my opinion. He's always there or thereabouts. Some days he's great. He never lets you down. Perry NG's come good. He went off the ball for a bit. He's come back, and Wintl's probably player of the season. And then it goes on to mention, Trott. So of those 4 names on the screen, John, you've been promoted now. You're the new manager at Cardiff City. You don't know that yet, but the contract's on the table, yeah? So which of those you're going to keep on?
I think Bagan's been absolutely outstanding this year, Joe Bagan.
Yeah.
He does what it says on the tin, innit?
Yep.
NG, Wintle. I like Nathan Trott, but I calls him Jigsaw, I do, Nathan Trott. Because every time a cross comes in, he goes to pieces, That's my only concern with him, Nathan Trott, when crosses come in.
Yeah.
That's my only concern. He does flap.
Yeah.
That's my only concern.
So you're not as sure about Nathan Trott as you would you keep the other 3? Would you like the other 3 to get offered contracts?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, what about you, Dave?
I think Trott, I share the same sentiments as Jonathan. I think he's been a little bit hit and miss, but generally pretty good though. He's been steady. In fairness to him, he's had 2 different centre halves in every game of him, so he hasn't had back 4. Bagan all day long, sign him and keep him, offer him 4 or 5 year contract. Great little player, most improved player in the squad since BBM has been there. Keep him. Perry NG, well, even if he's a good squad player going forward, I'd keep him because he's just Cardiff City, isn't he, through and through?
Yeah.
In fairness, and he's good against the opposition. He ruffles the opposition.
Yeah.
He winds them up, and he's good. He puts them off their stride, and he's typical Scouser, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. If you ever hear him being interviewed, is he from Crewe? I think he's originally. I think he is. Some of that.
I'm not sure.
But he's got that kind of accent, and certainly that kind of attitude and inverted comma sense of humour. Yeah. With Nathan Trott, where does Nathan Trott? Because he got up to a great start, didn't he? He was. Remember all those clean sheets we were keeping in the beginning of the season. Nobody was scoring, and he must be playing a key role in that. Where does he sit for you in the kind of pantheon of City keepers, Dave? Is he, is he that good? Is he in near it?
Yeah, I think Marshall's going to be up there. Ron Ely was decent, and then we had what's his name, boys? What's his name? Schmeichel, didn't we, for a while?
Yeah. Still going, he is. Just about. Well, just retiring this year, isn't he? I think.
I think Marshall was a decent keeper. But he's okay. He's a decent keeper. I think we need another cover for him, But like you said, it's a different game when we go up to the championship. We are a completely different team to what we were 2 years ago. So he's one of these modern keepers that can play, as well.
Yeah, and that's it, John, isn't it? With Trott, that's the one thing. I think he's a decent keeper, but one way in which he really fits in with BBM's a very modern coach. I think, he's of the trend. We play that way. We play the proper way, sort of thing. And these days, you play with footballing goalkeepers, and that's what he's really good at. We haven't seen Tyra yet. In fact, he hasn't been on the bench the last couple of games, so I don't know what's going on there. But I imagine he's also a footballing keeper. So, but I think we were talking about like 1.8 million or something, weren't we, for him? So, whether we were chucking that kind of money around on a keeper now, I don't know.
Yeah, we got promoted, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I don't know whether that's a signed thing or what, but that would be interesting to see that. Steve Thomas has been in touch. I think we look forward to next season we can look forward with a few additions. Agree with Dave on taking a punt on some of the better players who played against us this season. Of course, Don Ballard comes up, John, but Don Ballard, I think he scores loads of goals and he's the right kind of age demographic and everything. But I think he's got a 3-year contract. I think they'd probably want a few million for him, so I can't see that one happening.
No, me. And is Tan going to spend money in the summer? Is he going to spend money? He's going to back BBM, innit?
Yeah. So there's a good point, John. So when we went down, I might be totally wrong. I wonder what you and Dave think about this. It strikes me as, well, the first thing they did, they brought in a brilliant manager. They got the right man. We got the right manager for sure, yeah. And we've also got the right manager in terms of the way he works with young players. We had a great crop of young players, but because we had a great crop of young players, aside from a couple of, the only Osho springs to mind, aside from the odd signing and a few loans, we didn't really shell out any money. And I'm going to guess that the thinking was, we're good enough to do this. We're okay. But now we're going to the championship. That has to be totally rethought, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Very competitive, as you'll know, at the championship, Jensen. Very competitive league, you know.
Where do you reckon we need strengthening, John? I'm going to say when we go up now.
I myself personally, a leader, I love Joey Dwyer. Like, we need leaders like that, if you know what I mean. Like a Joey Dwyer or a Paul Ramsey or like a Bamber or a Morrison. We need a couple of Dave knows him. He's my mate Neil Smith. Like, and we were talking the other day on the phone. And get a couple of experienced players in, like, who've been there and done it.
Is there anyone? It might be a difficult question. Is anyone springs to mind, sort of at championship level? Is there an example of something like that? I don't know.
I don't know, to be totally honest.
But there probably are
available, isn't it?
Yeah, Wintle isn't that player, is he?
I think I agree with Dave. We need a good, real creative midfielder. Someone like a Kumaz, like, or a Tomlin, like someone who can change a game, like, in it. They can do that bit of magic, like, in it.
Yeah. What about you, Dave?
Well, I maybe look at some of the Welsh squad. Some of the players in around the Welsh squad who might fit in. I don't know. Kumas, I'd like. I'd love to have like the youngster there.
Son of Kumas on the t-shirts.
Oh yeah. I'd love to have it. I don't know. Maybe one or two players, youngsters. Youngsters from Man City. Couple of unknown kids. They're the ones who run. You've got pace, keep the average age down to 22, 23, but have one or two old pros in there who know the league and know, and bring that little bit of experience. I think he should, I think he should try and get Ramsey in and around the club now. Aaron Ramsey is on the coaching side of it, as well. I think he'd be great. Bring him back. Have that little bit of experience on the bench. But yeah, this as long as they're young. I think like maybe some young loanees again from some of the big clubs in the Premier would be okay for next year. Just settle and stay up. We don't want to become a yo-yo team.
So let me put this one to you. It's not a topic that we really want to talk about in the Cardiff City Phone-in, but I will, because we're going to hopefully come back to Championship very soon. Wrexham. Right, so Wrexham, obviously they had a couple of, Batman and Robin and whatever, and all the film stars looking after them, and so they had cash and all the rest of it. But, they've ramped up the leagues, haven't they, right? And in general, because they've had a little bit more cash, maybe, they've actually kind of signed quite intelligently and quite well, and they go around the playoffs. Could that be us next season, Dave?
Well, it could. They've had the momentum, but and when you've got that confidence running through the squad, it kind of carries you through. But I think Wrexham, if they don't go up if they don't get in the playoffs this year, it could be a different story next year. But they're in a we all got to remember with Wrexham, they're in a great area. You know, geography.
Northwest for players, yeah.
Exactly. You know, and same as like the Brentfords and all these all these London clubs that have done well. They're in that geographically, they're in that right position. Wrexham maybe, you know, they can pick one or two the old, you know, Man City players or United or Liverpool, Everton, you know, and they could make another charge. But you know, it's a big step up financially. Every league, you know, whether they've got the dough, these two Americans, you need serious dough now.
Yeah.
To be competing at the top of the Championship or in the Premier League. You know, you got Snoop Doggy Dog down the road, but you haven't got the money. You know, you know, that's I'm not against. You got to have, you know, he's worth 100 million. That's not enough.
He could be the new goalkeeping coach for them or something, you know.
Yeah, but it's not enough. You've got to have serious though now to
Yeah.
You know, 40, 50 grand a week for championship players, you know, but Wigan did it and Reading did it.
Yeah.
Wigan and Reading getting rid of all the big earners, and they went through the leagues. Average, you know, everyone was on around about the same money, so there was no animosity in the changing rooms, and they sailed through. You know, it's just keep an at as long as we keep a team which is average age 23.
Yeah. Well, on that point, John, this comment's come through. Maybe you and Dave can respond to this one, but it is a really good point, actually. You know, like I say, BBM has got his kind of style, and his style seems to be he likes to go with youngsters. He likes to go with pace and youth and you know, future, and I suppose in terms of having the assets as well, you know, the value, giving him longer contracts. Joel Bagan, I'd like him to have a contract by tomorrow, but we'll see about that. But he says here, Angie is 30 this month, Wintl's 29 next month. That's a reasonable point, isn't it? Maybe they're just not the kind of players, you know, that age that BBM would invest in.
Yeah.
What do you think, John?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good question. I didn't know NG was 30. Jeez,
I didn't know he was that age either. Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah.
Jeez, I don't know.
But I mean, would you say there's kind of validity in that? You know, if they're over a certain age, he's more likely to invest in youngsters.
More than likely, yeah. But then again, depends on the individual and if they look after themselves.
Yeah.
I know he's different class, like Ronaldo. Like, we don't drink or smoke. He don't eat rubbish. He trains, and God, he's about 40, but he got the body of a youngster in his 20s. Like, you know,
he lets you know it as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks at depends. It depends on the individual, and he looks after himself. How fit they are, in it, you know.
Do you want to comment on that, Dave? Do you think there's a relevance in that?
Yeah, I'm all over this young, you know, young players, local players.
Yeah,
could be a real benchmark going forward for the club. Is right in recruitment. Get them young, get all the best Welsh players, get them all playing for us, and they dangle a carrot that you're going to get your chance. Well, a lot of these clubs, they sign them, they loan them out, they don't get a chance, they don't get first. Look at what we've been like over the years. We've never brought the kids through properly. It's the first year we've got a forward-thinking manager who's taken he's had to take a gamble on him because he hasn't had any money.
Yeah, that's right.
But this is one of the reasons why we took him on, I think, because he worked with young players at Man City. He's got that style, and it's you know, we've been a good football. It's been nice to watch this year because we played some really good football, and if we keep that ethos going forward, keeping a young team, whether it's some loanees from big clubs or getting young players who are released from the big clubs, and keep at that. You know, we don't want the journeymen on 30 grand a week who don't care about Cardiff City. They're there for the dough. You know, we've had them. We've had managers as well. We don't want anymore. You know, we got to be right. No, this is the way we're going to go forward. You know, it's worked this year. Let's keep that model in place.
Yeah.
whether BBM goes on or onto another club or not, we get another manager of that style, like Swansea did. They did it successfully for years, you know.
So I mean, again, that's something I hadn't really thought about much, but he has done such a good job, John. By the way, BBM's done such a good job. He is going to get noticed. Is the point I'm going to make. So you've got clubs in the Premiership next season who are struggling. He's the kind of player that manager they might want to bring in. I hate to say that, but it might be the case. But the comment that Josh makes there as well about Trott, he says he's not a given because Harry Tyre is a good keeper, you know, and so you know, it may not necessarily be that we pay that kind of money because we haven't even seen Tyre, have we? Like I say, he hadn't even been on the bench the last couple of games. John, we had 19 shots on the weekend. We had something like 70 odd shots in the last 3 games, and it was evident, wasn't it? Do you think from the start of the weekend? Even Ryan Wintle's taking shots left, right, and centre. You know, we're getting near the box and we're having a pop, and you know, that's kind of paying off, isn't it? Rather than the criticism being we play around the box pretty, and we never get a shot in. It seems like they are willing to shoot now. So, you know, that's what we want to see, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you're on the edge of the 18 and you've got a chance to shoot, body over the ball and put your laces through it. Work the goalkeeper. It could come off the post, crossbar, keeper could parry it to one of our players. You don't know, don't you? Work the goalkeeper.
And Ryan Wintle scored one of the goals of the season, didn't he? Early on, for the absolute belter, didn't he? In that one game.
Yeah, against Plymouth, wasn't it, at home?
Was it Peterborough? Maybe Peterborough? I can't remember. Might have been, but was What's that, Dave?
Yeah, he scored a couple of whirlies this year.
He scored a couple of good goals, didn't he? Yeah.
There's been some really good goals this year, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. What's just for your opinion? What I think I know mine. What's your goal of the season so far?
Who, me?
Dave? Yeah.
It's got to be Dylan Lawler's at Doncaster.
I think so. Yeah. It's a ridiculous goal, wasn't it?
Oh, ridiculous.
Challenge, but the way he just composed himself and took the ball with confidence, it's got to be
unbelievable.
And there's been some great Kellyman's at Plymouth was great, although we got lovely finish, you know, and there's been loads of goals. Wintles against Plymouth, a couple of NGs. Who was it? Perry NGs against them. Fluid, one of the games.
Yeah, that was a great move, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And of course the Salak goal when he was being like jumped down by 2 or 3 players, he batted them away.
Oh, at Orient.
Orient was great.
That was a great goal. There's a couple of good names coming in. Somebody mentioned Peppel at Plymouth. Johnny's only 23 apparently, and then Richard Lewis is Aaron Connolly, good option. Robinson has moved on, but like you said, John, you know, will Tan spend any money? And he's reckoning it would be more loans and free transfer signings. We don't know. A lot could happen this summer. I think it's a massive summer for Cardiff City Football Club.
Agreed.
Would you agree with that, John? As a man,
massive, yeah, massive one, yeah. We just have to wait and see, innit, gents, what they're going to do, innit? That's all we can do, innit?
Well, look where we were this time last year and where we are now.
Yeah.
We had, you know, manager after manager, clueless. You know, we had a string of them on the, you know, it was poor, loads of journeyman players. You know, we got rid of a load of them. You know, look at where we are this year. You know, young team. All right, they're going to lose a few games on the way, but, you know, they're playing with so much confidence and no fear as well. They bounce back from, you know, their deads don't drop. They're like, come on, you know, let's go again. And, you know, all right, we've had a little blip, but every team's had a blip this season.
Yeah.
We acted well on Saturday, I think.
I don't think we stopped playing good football. We just didn't really particularly look like scoring for a while, you know.
You know,
there's a great comment here from Steve Thomas, Dave, which you'll like, I think. Taking us back to the older days, yeah. Steve Thomas says, we can both react to this. Remember going up in 82, 83 with no money. We lost Dave Bennett, brought in Gordon Owen, who was our 83, 84 top scorer. Gary Bennett also stopped. No, he's great, wasn't he? He's also stepped up last season. We just need to find a gem or two again.
Where did he go? He went to Sunderland, didn't he, Gary Bennett?
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Dibble went to Luton, didn't he?
And we lost Jeff Emmerman last game of the season. We didn't need to play him. We were already.
Bristol Rovers, was it?
Yeah.
Rovers
Phil Kite.
1-1.
Yeah, Phil Kite in goal, wasn't it? Phil Kite in goal. And Phil Kite went on to play for us, didn't he?
That's right.
94, 95 around that time, wasn't it, Phil Kite?
It was terrible, the Hemmerman thing, wasn't it? I was there for that one. It was just, it was, like you say, an unnecessary challenge, really, as it turned out.
Yeah.
Ended his career pretty well.
And he was like one of our players of that season. That was a great year, that. Was one of my favourite years watching the City, 82, 83.
We had about 7 goalkeepers, didn't we? Because Dibble got injured, wasn't it?
Yeah. Against Portsmouth away.
Eric Steele. Oh, what a save that was. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Billy Rafferty header. Flipping hell. How he saved that, I'll never know.
Yeah.
There's some comments about keepers coming in now. Lee Kendall has returned today as goalkeeper coach for the under-21s.
Oh, right.
I didn't know.
It's Mark Kendall's son, isn't it?
Yeah, his dad did all right in that cup game, didn't he, John?
Yeah. Good keeper, Mark Kendall.
Remember that penalty save?
Yeah. That's right, Mark Kendall.
I was going to ask you. Well, let's moving on to this one. Right, this is an interesting one. So, Cardiff City fans, we're probably no worse than other clubs. Probably, but it does happen that certain players become the non-flavor of the month, right? And one of those players who was the non-flavor of the month, he does nothing. What does he contribute? Why is he in the squad? Chris Willock. He made his point on the weekend, didn't he?
Well, he was my man of the match. I know Wintle that did, but for me, he was my man of the match. Willock, I thought he was superb.
Definitely. Agreed. He's been hit and miss. And I've cursed him out a few times this season, but Saturday he showed what he was all he could do. He fired us up on Saturday. Definitely,
yeah, he was up for it, wasn't he?
He was.
100%. I don't know what he'd been told, but I think he was given the chance to start. And it's right, prove it, prove to me what you tell me when you're knocking on my dressing room door. When onto the manager's door, tell I want to start. We'll start and prove it.
Yeah.
He did.
Actually, it's funny with him as well, John, with Chris Willock. I don't know, just the body language and whatever. Sometimes he's one of those players that kind of body language. He's a bit kind of. He looks like he's maybe not giving everything he's got at times, and I had the impression of him that he might be like a bit cocky and just like taking the money, not really caring. But you hear him being interviewed, he comes across as a really lovely, enthusiastic lad who just wants to play good football, and that's what came across on the weekend. Because he's kind of different to the other options that we got, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He can be a very, very, very good player. There is a great player in there, but
yeah, he's class act, I think.
Yeah, he is.
On his day, for sure.
Absolutely. But it's up to the individual, isn't it? You can give all the coaching and all that, blah, blah, blah. But it's up to you to find it in your heart, with the desire in it, how much you want it, like everything else in it. And Saturday he was immense. He had a cracking game.
Dave's going to come in now, but that reminds me, John, of your inspirational team talk towards the end of last season. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Blood, snot, and tears. Give everything,
Looks like we'll be all right without that for the time being. Maybe that's for next season. Dave, did you want to comment on what we were just talking about?
I think Willock, from what I've heard, he's great round the changing room with the players.
Seems like a nice lad, yeah.
Player, good squad player, and everyone was, you could see the reaction from the other players when he scored on Saturday. We're all jumping all over him. It was like he needed it. Hopefully, he can kick on from it now.
Yeah. And with that goal, Dave, it's worth discussing that goal because we all know what he's going to do. We all know he's going to cut inside and in for his right foot. And what I really liked about that goal, actually, and it was recognised, but the immense part that Robertson played in that goal, because that break from the back, he was fouled. He kept on going, played a great ball through, and then not only that, he kept on running, so he kind of like made a decoy run across the box, which opened up the space for Chrissy to put it in the bottom corner. You know,
did, and he didn't hit it first time. He took another touch,
yeah,
and he
passed it in really.
opened up the space, and it was lovely. It was a lovely goal, you know. And we've scored some great goals this season, you know. In fact, you look back, you know, and a lot, you know, Isaac Davis's couple of his goals where he's cut in and he's hit them into the top corner, you know. But yeah, it's like we said, it's a lot of decoy runs, all that movement, which is. I'm lucky enough. I upgraded my season ticket. I'm up in level 4 now, and you can see the old game. You know, you can see the way they, you know, the way he set him up and the movement off the ball, and it's, you know, it is good. You know, it's good. It's good to watch. You know, we've been really good this season. I'm really, really buoyed by it for the first time ever.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
You know, this is good football. You know, when we play good, we're playing really nice football.
We are. Yeah, and what you said earlier, Dave. Sorry.
Big pat on the back from where we were.
Definitely. But the point you made earlier was a really good one, you know, and it is really reassuring and comforting that, you know, in those games, you know, like we said about the Burnley game and the Wrexham game and the Chelsea game, you know, even against Chelsea, you know, we're playing a really, really good team, multi-million squad, whatever they might say about playing it.
Kept them 1-1 into 82 minutes.
We played our game, just stuck to our game plan. We played our football, you know.
They like you said, they play with no fear, the kids, whoever they're playing against, you know, and that's been to their advantage, you know. Rex, like John said earlier, Wrexham and Burnley away with the 2 great nights out. Brilliant, you know, and the way we played and way we, you know, at Wrexham, you know, live on the telly, you know, and normally big games we melt, but
we were immense that first half, weren't we?
Yeah,
we outclassed them on their own park.
We did
from a league below, you know.
Yeah, you know, and we humbled them.
Yeah,
we humbled them that night. We played them off the park that night. I don't care what anyone's come on, but no, I was so proud walking out of that ground that night. It was an amazing day. Yeah.
Well, I've got a question for you, John. Right, and I'll go to Dave. Actually, you both may have personal reasons for how you answer this, right? So, John, would you like Spurs, West Ham, Forest, or Leeds next season? Spurs because
I've been to White Hart Lane a few times.
Yeah,
new ground in it, Tottenham. And last time in the second division, Dave will know, 77-78 season.
Yeah, but one of my first ever away games that was with Cardiff, Tottenham. We lost 2-1.
Yeah, Paul Wentz scored for City, didn't he? Wentz scored.
Played in yellow shorts.
That's right.
Blue shirts, yeah, yellow shorts. I remember. Yeah, we beat them in the cup in '77 with Peter Sayer scored.
Yeah,
and played them in the league the year after, didn't we? And we drew 0-0. It was a dinner time kickoff. They brought it forward because of all the trouble at the cup tie. So they put it to a dinner time. It was a 0-0 draw, wasn't it? And then
that's right.
They were on. I remember Tottenham were on Match of the Day against Rovers, weren't they? They beat them 9-0. Same season, Bristol Rovers. Colin Lee scored 4 for them, didn't they?
Yeah.
Colin Lee.
Remember that? Colin Lee?
Yeah, Colin Lee, yeah.
9-0 with the year. They went straight back up, but yeah, I remember that. And United, when United came down in 74.
So obviously we're talking now from a football perspective, but we have had some interesting games against some of those clubs, and I'm sure there's a few memories flying around, Dave, with West Ham and maybe Spurs in particular. Yeah,
Spurs, I'd like to go. The new ground, that'd be great. Yeah, it's bound to be a night game, but it'd be great. But they look doomed at the moment, Tottenham. They look. I watched. I thought, this new man. They might have the new.
Yeah, I thought they got a result yesterday.
Might have the new manager bounce. They didn't. They look really, really void of any confidence.
On another topic for you, John. Choosing this one for you. Nice to see Omar Rizza back in football, isn't it?
Mr. Rizzler. He's with Jermaine Defoe or something. Defoe or something?
Yeah, it's not him, I don't think, but it's an ex colleague at that level. Yeah, Cesena in Italy, isn't it? Yeah, but yeah. I just couldn't resist that one. Sorry, I put that one in there.
Yeah.
On a different note, Dave, looking at the table now, it is only Stockport mathematically. If we win one game, I think I'm right in saying this. If we win one game, I think it is only Stockport who can catch us, and that's only if they win all 6 of the last games and we lose every one.
If we win tomorrow, which is a hard game tomorrow because they're looking, they're pushing.
They need points.
Yeah. If we win tomorrow, Stockport, if they fail to win on Wednesday, we're promoted.
Yeah.
Everyone else, if we win up tomorrow, Bradford can't catch us, Bolton can't catch us, Stockport can because they got the game in hand. But they'd have to win at Wimbledon on Wednesday. So if they fail to win on Wednesday and we win tomorrow, we're home and dry.
Of course, Reading is still technically in the chase for the playoffs as well, aren't they? So they need points too.
Yeah, I can't see anyone catching us now, to be honest. It'd be monumental.
Yeah, even by our standards, we can't do this. We can't do that. Lose 18-0, something like that,
Well, yeah. Stockport don't deserve to go up.
No, they don't. And it's nice to see them lose that cup final, actually, yesterday.
Quite pleasing, actually, after that challenge on Salah.
Yeah, it was a terrible challenge. I still think it was a terrible challenge. It wasn't even a foul.
30th team down here this season.
Yeah. So on that topic, Dave, I mean, that's one of the things where we're moving away from League One, because there have been two things have happened this season. One is the physicality and the getting away with it stuff that goes on at this level. You don't really see as much, I don't think, in the Championship. I really don't think you do. But the referee has also been continuing on the weekend. Dire. And it's not a good combination,
Third division pub centre halves, and 10 men behind the ball, and that's what we've had to break down and compete against. And they've been kicked, Stevenage away. No, it was awful. They just wanted to kick us off the park. Same as Lincoln when they came down here, so negative. All right, they've done a number on us. They were well organised at the back, but they stuck 10 men behind the ball. You only see a couple of teams that come to play here this year, Orient and Barnsley. All right, we tore Barnsley.
That Orient game was a great game, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Orient play, and Huddersfield did, in fairness. That was a game of 3-2.
And Bradford won it.
Of the play, we've kind of got behind them and done well, but fair play to them. Everyone else has stuck 10 men behind the ball and tried hitting us on the counter.
Yeah.
It's worked sometimes for them, yeah, but, it's boring. The referee, it's been awful.
Oh, shocking.
We haven't had one decent ref. I can't remember one. We still only had one pen all season, by the way.
Awful. That Stockport referee.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 players should have gone for that day.
Yeah, that's right.
But, what that challenge, he should have been banned for 10 games.
Yeah. So, John, yesterday before the game, I was listening on Radio 5. They were talking about the game, the cup final. And I said, what a great job Challen has done at Stockport, right? And if you remember, I'm sure we all do, remember that quote after the game. When he was talking about Joe Caldwell, wasn't he? And he got that goal, and he said it would pretty well, in the old days, his face would never look the same again. It was along the lines of that. He needed to be done. He's vouching for that. And then you saw what happened to Salak, where for me, he deliberately, the way he followed through on it and put all his body in the back, which has obviously done the damage around the neck area. But it looked like a premeditated challenge to me.
Yeah, I thought he broke his neck. I really did. I thought
it looked awful, didn't it?
Oh, terrible. Oh, could have been paralysed. The neck down could have been.
I don't think
Shocking,
we're going to
Cam.
see. We're not going to see. I don't think we're not going to see that much of Yusuf Salak. I don't think between now and the season. Particularly if we get the win tomorrow, we can more or less treat him with kid gloves, can't we, till the end of the season?
I didn't think we're going to see him at all this season, to be totally honest with you, Steve. I didn't think we're going to see him at all.
No, I was worried. That you could hear the thud.
Ooh.
You know, that was one of probably the worst challenges I've ever seen.
Wow.
It was shocking. And that same game as well, gents, wasn't it? Ryan Wintle got elbowed in the face, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fairly blatantly too.
Blatant it was. And the linesman went far away.
Useless.
Shocking.
It's been refereeing. Yeah, it's been, that's one thing I won't miss if we go up is the standard of refereeing and the negativity. It's a massive gulf between the Championship and League One. Massive gulf.
Oh, yeah.
So on that topic, Dave, particularly because it's you and John actually on here tonight, I wonder, we can just briefly talk about this before we talk about the games to come this week. Back in 2002, 2003, when this show started, by the way, with Keith Cooper and all the rest of it, yeah. And then we got to the playoff final, and then we got into the Championship, and we've been disappointed at me in those playoffs a couple of times. We've been there or thereabouts at Lenny Lawrence and all the rest of it. There was going to be an elephant walking through the middle of town and all that stuff going on. And we got there. It was an awful game. I thought it was a dreadful game, the QPR match. But we got that goal, Andy Campbell, la la la. And then for all those years, we were at Championship and above in the Premiership, right, for 20 odd years, and remember that excitement that we had that we were going into the Championship.
Yeah.
And I want to remind City fans, particularly younger ones, of how great it is actually that we had a terrible season last season, and we deservedly were relegated, absolutely. And then if we come back in one season straight back up, how great that is. Any thoughts on that, Dave?
Yeah, it's a carbon copy of 82, 83. We bounced back straight away, but we were waiting to go down for about 4 or 5 years then. And I think the same, and it was only one way we were going to go, and it was a good chance to basically cleanse the club from top to bottom. And I've had I've had my reservations about the top, the people who are recruiting these managers, but they've come up trumps with this one. I've got to be honest, and hopefully it's a turn of the corner. But when we do go back, and how we manage in that league next year, we're going to lose games, but as long as we can stay up and compete. Look at Birmingham last year. I'll give you an example. Birmingham last year, 111 points they got last year. They're 14th or 15th in the league.
Yeah. And they spent millions.
They did. Yeah. Millions. So, that's the task ahead.
Yeah. However, John, I think the new rule comes in. Is it top 8 make the playoffs?
Yeah, it's daft. It is. I don't like it.
I don't like it, but it'd be kind of interesting if it affected us, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. Perhaps I'm old school, but top 3 go up and bottom 3 go down, all this nonsense and playoffs and stuff like that. And I don't like it. I don't.
But what about the point that I'm making about when we went up last time, and it was such a big thing? It was so exciting for us, I think I was crying actually. When we finally got up, and how big it was for us. And when you do, we're not taking it for granted now. It's a big thing to go straight back up. It's a big thing, isn't it? And we really need to celebrate it.
It was an
absolutely
2003 game, or 2002. Was it 2 or 3? I can't remember.
2003, the final, yeah.
2003. Well, we were out of that top 2 leagues for 18 years then.
Yeah.
So, this time it's only 1, but that was it's a long time.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
So that was even more special.
Yeah, because there were those, John. I was saying last season, we'll go down. Exactly what Dave said. We might be down there for years. If we could nosedive, look, other clubs have done that, haven't they?
Yeah, it took Sunderland about 4 seasons to to get
Yeah.
back up on it.
Yeah.
Ipswich, Leeds. You know, I didn't think we'd go up this year. I'll be honest, gents. I thought we'd finish about halfway around there. Like, I didn't think we'd go up this year. I'll be honest.
I didn't think we'd do as well as we have.
No.
So you know, we've done fantastically well. If we go down, we go straight back up. Don't take that for granted. That is a great thing, and that a lot of that credit goes to BBM and our great squad of youngsters.
People I know were moaning that we weren't going to go up as champions.
Yeah, I don't really care about that.
No one cares about who wins it. It's like,
No,
gets promoted.
let's get up. Let's get out of the seat. Get out of this league, and that's it.
Absolutely.
And no playoffs. Thanks very much.
No.
Oh.
Let's hope that the board and the manager got a plan. Like, you know, like Dave was touching on with the youngsters and all that. Like, if it's a 3-year or 5-year plan, whatever it is, and they stick to this plan, you know.
Yeah.
On that 3-year, 5-year plan, a lot of the youngsters we've given long contracts to. It wouldn't surprise me. It is surprisingly late to me if Joel Bagan didn't get himself a 3-year contract, and maybe we don't stick with the others, the older players. Maybe that's the way it'll play out. We'll see. But we got Huddersfield away tomorrow. There's a club who've underachieved, by the way. And then, of course, Reading on the weekend. And how lovely would it be to win promotion at Reading? Thoughts on that, Dave? Those two games?
Tough games tomorrow. They're chasing the playoffs. They won on the weekend, so they're going to be tails up. Plymouth drew, Reading lost, so they're going to be looking to beat us tomorrow. But you know, it's realistically it might be it's going to be Reading, I think. But it's just a shame we've only got 2,000 tickets when they really could allocate us 4,000 or 5,000, and give everyone the opportunity of seeing us getting promoted. I think it's going to be on Saturday.
Would you particularly enjoy celebrating success at Reading, Dave?
Absolutely, anywhere. But luckily, I'm going tomorrow and I'm going on Saturday. So
yeah, I'd love it to be Reading. I mean, obviously, you know, it's a stupid one, but I'll put it this way: I much prefer us to win, play well at Reading, and go up rather than Stockport slip up in a week, and you know we still celebrate it, but just to absolutely celebrate that moment, you know. John, thoughts on those two games, and also predictions?
Oh God, I love it when you do this to me, Steve. I love it. As Dave quite right pointed out, two tough games. I'd like to see us get promoted at Reading. I really, really would. I got a funny feeling it'll be a score draw tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Be a score draw. That's the feeling I'm getting. And win at Reading. 2-1 at Reading.
Yes.
That would do it.
Exactly the same. 2-2 tomorrow and 2-1 at Reading.
Okay. Well, I hope you're both right. Thanks for night. Really, really good chatting with you. And it's nice to kind of relate it back to years gone by as well, you know, because it's the heritage of the club is important too, isn't it?
Oh, it's massive.
Thank you both.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot. Speak soon. Cheers. Thank you.
This channel is powered by an incredible membership community on Cardiff City World and patreon.com/Ace Podcast Nation. Becoming a member unlocks exclusive rewards from early access to live event tickets, bonus content, and even the occasional inside transfer scoop when we get it. But more importantly, it allows us to bring you top quality Cardiff City content 7 days a week. Across those 7 days, we're talking match previews, exclusive interviews, instant match reactions, the breakdown podcast, tactical deep dives, the spotlight series, Bluebirds Rewind, Academy Focus, and just so much more. Led by myself, backed by an army of passionate Cardiff City fans, this is content created by fans for fans. Balanced, professional, and 100% all about the club we all love. If you enjoy what we do, then join the community today and support what we are doing as we help to keep Cardiff City World flying high.